Today I'm going to be talking about Christian denominations and ecumenism, and more specifically, how the Catholic Church understands division between Christians and the idea of unity. This topic is important because even though Christianity is one of the largest religions in the world, it is also divided into many different groups. These divisions have developed over time, and they continue to shape how Christians understand their faith today. So let's get into it. What are denominations? Today, Christianity is divided into many denominations. Some of the biggest ones that we know today are Roman Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, and a large branch of Protestant churches. A denomination is basically a branch of Christianity. All denominations share core beliefs like belief in Jesus Christ, belief in the Trinity, but they differ in minor ways such as authority, interpretation of scripture, and religious practices. For example, Catholics believe in the authority of the Pope and importance of church tradition, while Protestants believe in the five solas: faith alone, grace alone, scripture alone, in Christ alone, to the glory of God alone, as their main authority. These differences are what separate denominations from each other. How did these divisions happen? One of the earliest divisions was the Great Schism in 1054, which separated Christianity into the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. This split involved disagreements in authority, theology, and cultural differences. Another major division happened in the 1500s, which was called the Protestant Reformation, which started with reformers like Martin Luther, and how he challenged the teachings of the Catholic Church, especially about salvation and authority. This led to the creation of many different Protestant denominations. This was all explained in the book I read called An Introduction to Eucharism by Gross and others. These historical events played a key role shaping the divisions that exist in Christianity today. The book also talked about how these divisions we see today are not random. They are a result of long historical process. Why unity still matters. Even though these divisions exist, the Catholic Church teaches that unity among Christians is still very important. This idea comes from Jesus himself in the Gospel of John, where he says, "May all his followers be one." Ephesians chapter 4 says that there is one body, one spirit, one Lord, one faith, one baptism. Christ is not divided, we're under one body. This shows that unity is not just a human idea, but something rooted in Christian teaching itself. Because of this, the Catholic Church sees the pursuit of unity as part of its mission, not just an optional goal. So what is eucharism? Well, basically, what eucharism is the effort to bring Christians closer together. Eucharism focuses on dialogue, understanding, and cooperation between different Christian traditions. It does not mean that all Christian churches have to become all the same or that differences disappear. Instead, it focuses on building relationships and recognizing shared beliefs while still being honest about differences. So eucharism is really about moving toward unity without ignoring reality. One thing we're going to talk about is Vatican II. So a major turning point for eucharism in the Catholic Church was the Second Vatican Council. In Unitatis Redintegratio, Vatican II explains that restoring unity among Christians is one of the main concerns of the Catholic Church. It also recognizes that other Christian communities share real elements of faith and holiness. This means that they are not completely separated from truth. This was a major shift in the Church's approach, moving toward dialogue, cooperation, and a more open understanding of other Christian traditions. So next we're going to talk about Ut Unum Sint, continuing the mission. So basically it talks about how Pope John Paul II builds on his encyclical Ut Unum Sint, which means they may be all one, like it said in John. In this document, he emphasizes that eucharism is not optional, but essential part of the Church's mission. He also explains that unity will take time and requires patience, honesty, and continued dialogue. He even describes Church's commitment to eucharism as something that cannot be reversed. So now we got the Catholic understanding, the Catechism. This understanding is also explained in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. The Catechism teaches that the Catholic Church believes it preserves the fullness of the Church founded by Christ, but also recognizes the element of truth and faith exists in other Christian traditions. This allows the Church to stay committed to its own beliefs while still engaging respectfully with other denominations. This balance is a key part of how the Catholic Church approaches eucharism. So now I'm going to give you a real life example, joint declaration. So one of the strongest examples of eucharism in action is the joint declaration on the doctrine of justification. This was an agreement of the Catholic Church and the Lutheran Church. For centuries, they disagreed on how salvation works. In this document, both sides agree that salvation comes from God and cannot be earned. But they also acknowledge that faith naturally leads to good works, like a side effect of following Christ, basically. So instead of completely rejecting each other's views, they found a shared understanding. What this actually done has created a foundation for further dialogue. It didn't erase all differences, but it removed one of the biggest barriers that separated Catholics and Lutherans for hundreds of years. So the importance of the document is not just what it says, but what it represents. It shows that real theological process is possible through dialogue. They realized that they shared more agreement than they originally thought, and they were able to agree on many key ideas. This is important because it shows that even major theological disagreements can be addressed through dialogue. Today, eucharism shows through dialogue, shared prayer, and cooperation between churches. As Margaret O'Gara explains in her article, No Turning Back, eucharism has made real progress, but still is an ongoing process. She emphasizes that unity develops over time through relationships, trust, and continued effort. One of her key ideas is that ecumenism has shifted from trying to win arguments to trying to build relationships. In the past, different denominations tried to debate each other in order to prove who was right. But now, the focus is more understanding each other and recognizing shared beliefs. She also points out that ecumenism has changed how Christians see each other. Instead of seeing other denominations as completely separate or wrong, there's now more of a recognition that they're part of a broader Christian community. What this has actually done is change the mindset of ecumenism, and it's no longer just about solving theological disagreements, but about building trust and unity over time. So O'Gara helps us understand that today, ecumenism is still ongoing, relational, and still developing. So eucharism today is less about short-term solutions and more about long-term commitment. So, a modern example of eucharism is through Bridgefolk. Bridgefolk focus on building understanding and relationships between Christians from different traditions. It creates opportunities for dialogue and shared experiences. Bridgefolk organizes conferences and gatherings where Christians from different denominations come together. At these events, people don't try to debate or prove each other wrong. Instead, they focus on sharing experiences, praying together, and learning from each other's traditions. Bridgefolk also emphasizes listening rather than approaching ecumenism as who is right. It often asks people, what can I learn from the other person? Showing how eucharism can be lived out in real life. This helps connect official church teaching with everyday practice. The Catholic Church also provides clear guidance for how eucharism should be practiced. In the Directory for the Application of Principles and Norms on Eucharism, the Church explains how Catholics can engage in dialogue, shared prayer, and cooperations with other Christians. It also emphasizes the importance of respect, honesty, and staying faithful to Catholic teaching while engaging with others. This shows that eucharism is not just theoretical, but something that is actively guided and practiced. Even though progress has been made, there are still challenges. There are still disagreements about authority, sacraments, and certain theological teachings. Because of this, full unity between Christian denominations has not yet been achieved. However, these challenges are part of the ongoing process of eucharism. To conclude, Christian denominations developed through complex historical, theological, and cultural divisions. Catholic Church recognizes that these divisions are real and cannot be ignored. But at the same time, it teaches that unity remains essential to the nature of the church. Through ecumenism, the church responds to division by not forcing agreement, but by encouraging dialogue, understanding, and cooperation. Documents like Unitatis Redintegratio and Ut Unum Sint explain the importance of unity, like examples of joint declaration show that real progress is possible. At the same time, thinkers like O'Gara and groups like Bridgefolk show that eucharism today is not just theological, but also relational and ongoing. So when we ask, what are Catholics saying about ecumenism? The answer is that unity is something that isn't already achieved, but something that continues to be worked toward through patience, dialogue, and real relationships between Christians. Thanks for watching.